welcome Vice President, Program Management, Scott Hanselman.
Hi, friends. How's it going? Thank you so much for spending time with us this evening, closing out day 2. We're having all kinds of fun. And in order to close out the day, we thought it would be cool to bring you a parade of awesome, both in people and in technology, and all the cool stuff that we're doing across Windows, across Developer Division. Each of our own individual machines are all unique. We are as unique as the people who are behind them. And I'm going to start with some of the cool things that I've got on my machine that I've kind of tweaked and set up, and some tools. And then we're going to have some friends come out and show us hopefully some surprises, some tips, some tricks, some hotkeys, and some cool things to help you make your space your own. If we take a look at my machine right here, after we ran an AI on my desktop, we were able to move everything into this folder over here called Old Desktop, which probably was not the smartest move in the world, but fortunately those files are all there. And I think we're looking at probably, just 800 files across 2 gigs. So that's fine. I'll move them back when Mark is not looking. When you think about customizing your space, you might go into dark mode, you might go into light mode, you might change your fonts, you might have your wallpaper a certain way. I spend a lot of time at the command line, and I've made the command line my own place. This is, of course, Windows Terminal that we know and love. I'm using Zoom It here to go and draw on the screen and point at stuff. You can see that it's detected a bunch of things like the developer command prompts that were installed with Visual Studio. I've got PowerShell here as my primary space, but I've also got Ubuntu in the form of WSL, the Windows Subsystem for Linux, the Azure Cloud Shell. And you'll notice here, if I hit like Z, I'm using a module for PowerShell called Z that's giving me history. I can scroll around in my history, go backwards and forwards, and then move from place to place. Z is a faster CD, and then this PowerShell history plugin is giving me quick access to my Z. All of this is written up on the blog. And then I'm using Oh My Posh, that you can get at ohmyposh.dev, great open source project that is changing the prompt. And you'll notice right here in my prompt, I've got the current folder. I've got my Git prompt, and I see that I've got something in the cloud I need to go and pull down, do a Git pull. I've got the current version of .NET that I've got on my machine. I need to upgrade to the latest preview. This icon here actually indicates that I'm on a dev drive. My D drive is my developer drive. That's using REFS, the reliable file system, rather than NTFS for my code. And then right here, that's my blood sugar in real time. Thank you for laughing at my lifelong disease. No, I've got an insulin pump, and I've got a sensor right here and an open source artificial pancreas that jumps over into my phone that I have to keep charged at all time because I don't want to die on stage. And then it goes from there up into the cloud. So I've got a REST API for my own body, which is great. You should all have a REST. Just do an HTTP GET on yourself. So I can watch that turn color. I can see it's supposed to be around 100, so we're going to want to watch for that. Speak up if it goes low. That trend line will show me how my blood sugar is going up and down. So I've made my space my own. And I've used nerd fonts like Cascadia Code Nerd Font to get these glyphs that you would not ordinarily see in your standard font. So check out the new Cascadia Code Nerd Font. I can go really far in updating my terminal, and I can make it look like this, which is the way the terminals are supposed to look. And then I can run things like this. Yeah, right? Good night, everybody. Teach the babies. Teach the young people. Now, this is Midnight Commander, an homage to Norton Commander, running with a 3-dimensional shader on top of the terminal, which is letting me, live my nostalgic lifestyle that I like to live. And that's okay. So this right here is my space. I have customized it. I've made it my own place. I've even added little custom plugin. So I can go and say, how do I count the files in this folder and below in PowerShell? And when I say question mark, that's actually going to call GitHub Copilot at the CLI, go and create the PowerShell command for me. I can then copy it to the clipboard and drop it in, and then find out how many files are on, in this folder, which is probably going to be, I probably shouldn't have done that because I have thousands. I'm going to go, actually, that was a huge mistake. What have I done? I should go back up into my desktop because we know there's only a couple of thousands up there. There you go, 807. So that's pretty cool. So that is GitHub Copilot at the command line. I can even say git, like how do I git commit? And I say git with a question mark. And git with a question mark then says, well, that's how you git commit. And if I can say, well, I don't understand, I'll say explain that command, and it'll go and tell me all about it. So it's a AI-powered man pages. This is just one of the ways that I've made my space my space. Let's bring Kayla out from the Windows Developer Tools team to show me how she makes her space more interesting. Kayla. Woo! Your machine fell asleep.
Yeah.
Your machine fell asleep.
That happens
You should use
sometimes.
Power Toys a week.
I should, especially for today.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for having me up here, man.
All right, what kind of cool stuff have you done to make your space your own?
So I get to use all of the cool new things that we're delivering over on Power Toys, Terminal, et cetera. So I've got some sneak peeks of things to show off. The first is this little icon on my taskbar. So I don't know what your morning routine looks like, but I know I drag the same windows in the same place on the screen every day. Like, I'm a creature of habit. I do the same thing. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just do that in one click, which is what I've done here. So this is projects which we're delivering with Power Toys. A branch was just opened last night, this morning. It's fresh.
Fresh bits. You
Fresh bits.
just got this.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. And this works really well also with multiple monitors or multiple projects. So if I have different screen resolutions or if I have an external monitor, I can set everything up in one project, and then one click I'm in and I'm good.
So it's not like Fancy Zone. It's not a tiling window manager. It's like you saved that project, that space for yourself, and it put it right back the way you wanted it.
Yeah, exactly. And I can actually give you a sneak peek of what the editor looks like for this. This is my dev project, and I only set it to launch VS Code, Dev Home, and Terminal. And in here, you can see my screen layout. So this is what I just launched. I had Terminal at the top, VS Code on the bottom, and Dev Home on the right. And when I made this project, it takes a snapshot of what's running on your machine, both minimized and also in a window. So I can keep things warm and launch them as minimized, and I can select which ones I want to actually launch. So I had, File Explorer a couple times. I'm not big on the tabs yet, even though I helped put tabs in Terminal, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go and say, make it like this. It'll put it in the editor. You can then customize it to taste and save it as a project.
Yeah, exactly. So this just helps save time. I'm big on saving time. I'm big on making myself more efficient. And Dev Home actually helps with that. And I can come over to Dev Home. This is our new hub-like experience in Windows for developers to give you all the tools you need at once. So I have a fully customizable dashboard. I have, GitHub widgets, my CPU, GPU, things like that. But one thing that Dev Home does help with is helping get your machine set up. And that's over on the machine configuration page. And I am going to go through the clone repo flow as a quick example. So I'm going to clone Power Toys to my dev drive. I know this path. I've done it many times. Here we go. And when I hit next, I can click Generate Configuration File. So machine configuration, I can clone repos, and I can also install apps and packages. And then I can take all of that, put it into a winget configuration file, and then I can replicate that on other machines. So we can do that here. I'm going to generate a configuration file, and I'm just going to save it as my config over in my documents. And I'm going to clone this down because there's another feature here I want to show. But we could take a look at that file and see what's going on. I'm going to open this up in VS Code. I'll make this full screen. So here, what's happening is I need to zoom. Zoom.
Hit escape.
Hit escape. Oh, it's because I entered the zoom it tool.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. OK.
Control scroll.
Control scroll. Thank you. We're helping each other today. Why don't you try it?
Whee! Did you turn off control scroll?
I don't know. Oh, there we go,
We'll do
there we go. Thank you,
Control
thank you, thank
plus.
you. You're helping add value.
I'm adding value.
Thank you. Okay.
Call back.
So here you can see I'm cloning Power Toys right here with git clone. This is huge.
That is, yeah, good job.
Thank you. And this is the git file.
Because you were doing this thing before.
This is going to be like this
is
for the
fine.
rest. It's
This is
fine.
fine. It's totally okay.
And we can see that this depends on git. So in order to clone, I need git. So this is going to add the dependency up top, since WinGet knows I need git. So then it'll also help me install git. So I don't need to, mess around with getting this set up. It should just work.
You know, one of the things that's worth noting about this, and I'm just curious, what's that right there? DSC, desired state configuration. This isn't a batch file. This isn't a PowerShell file.
Right.
It's not a series of instructions on what it needs to do.
Right.
It's a state.
Yes. So if you had something that was already installed, like everyone has Git these days, it's just going to make sure that Git is installed. It's not going to attempt to install it again. So it helps get your machine into the proper state, like you mentioned, rather than just applying everything at once, like a batch file.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if I hop back over to DevHome, I finished cloning. And one thing we've added into DevHome is configuration file detection. So we have a lot of repositories. We're open source on a lot of things.
Giant circle.
Giant circle. And in our repositories, we have configuration files to help you get set up. And you can view this file and run this file. So yes, I've cloned PowerToys, but PowerToys might require Visual Studio, et cetera. And we can have them detected by DevHome. I can launch this, run it within DevHome, and then I can get set up with development in a snap.
I see. So if I wanted to work on PowerToys and I okay, here's the Word document, here's the README file. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I just go and say WinGet configure, or I run it in DevHome. DevHome sets my machine up, and I'm ready to start building.
Yeah.
Including parts within VS itself, like right there on line 28. The Visual Studio config is all the workloads that Visual Studio is going to need.
Yeah, exactly. And not only is it VS config include the workloads, it also can modify Windows settings. So up here at the top on line 7 and also line 5, it's turning on developer mode because I need developer mode enabled in order to compile and run DevHome. Oh, sorry, PowerToys.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right. I dig it.
Yeah. So I only have a few more minutes here, but
What
I
are
have
some little known things? Because
Yeah.
there's an old joke from the Word team that said that they could release like new versions of Word with no new features
Yeah.
and just tell people about features that have existed for years and pretend that they're new.
well,
So let's talk about things that have been in Windows for 20 years that no one noticed.
okay, here's one.
What's that? Okay, what hotkey was that?
That was Windows key X, and this has a lot of great utilities in it. We added terminal to this when we brought terminal in box.
Very nice.
So Windows key X, and then if you hit I, there's the underlined letters on each of these. I'm afraid to use that arrow because I'm going to run right over it.
Yeah.
But if you hit Windows key I or Windows key A, you can launch as admin terminal very quickly. Or if you right-click on the Windows icon, you can launch this menu too.
Yep. Very cool.
Other cool things, if you hold Control-Shift and then you click on something running in your taskbar, or if you use Run and you hit Control-Shift and you hit Run, it'll launch as administrator. So Control-Shift is a nice little thing to just help you get into admin really quickly.
Yep. That's been in Windows a long time, but not enough people know about it. So you just launched it as an administrator. You can see the terminal just said it was administrator. You look at my machine. I've got a little thing in my Posh with a lightning bolt to warn me that I'm administrator. And I've seen people make theirs change color.
Yeah.
Like turn red or turn yellow to tell them that it is an administrator.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Also, I saw your terminal. That's
It's pretty shiny, but you don't like
yeah.
it?
Well, I live in the modern age, man. So I put my cat in
Kayla,
mine.
thank you for- Okay, so you have your cat.
I have my cat. I took inspiration from Jen Gentleman. She puts her cat in her terminal, and I
Yeah.
wanted to do the same.
Very nice.
But the last thing I'll leave you with is my rainbow border. I think it's awesome, and I could show you how to do it. So over
Okay, so
here,
you have a rainbow border around terminal
yeah, see that? Let me bring it
for
back.
no reason other than it's awesome.
Exactly,
Just like the rainbow progress bar in WinGet, because it's awesome.
because it's awesome.
Should totally do that.
Yeah. So I've opened my settings file for terminal, the JSON file.
Yeah.
And you can do that by holding Shift and clicking Settings. And that'll launch it in your default editor. And then here I just have a theme in the themes object, and I've set experimental rainbow frame to true, and it should work. just
cool.
like that. And the last little tip I'll leave you with, and then I'll go run off and bring Maddie up here, is this new feature we added where we put end task in the context menu of the taskbar.
Ah, so that's stuff that should have been in Windows from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Now we're cooking. That's fantastic. Very cool. Thanks for showing me that.
And to enable this, you could just turn this on in your developer settings over here, and then you should be good to go.
Very cool. Big
yeah.
hand for Kayla for showing us some
you.
awesome tools in Windows. And then hang on. What? You just, okay, so you just locked your screen. You don't trust me? You think
No.
I'm going to mess with your machine?
No, Windows key L, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to mess with your backgrounds and stuff.
You don't have
All right. Bring Maddie out.
All right.
Kayla.
Thanks,
Big hand for Kayla. Now we're bringing Maddie out. Big high five. Maddie, different machine, different setup. You're a mobile developer. Yeah, your machine's falling asleep.
I put on Power Toys awake.
I'm sure you did.
I must have turned it
That's
off.
totally fine.
It's okay.
My machine's awake.
It's making sure it's me.
One of the things that Maddie's referring to is the Power Toys Awake tool
Show it
that
to
you
you.
have to go, yeah, let's see it. Let's make sure it's on.
Right here. You right-click on that.
Keep screen on.
I had keep awake, but not screen.
Sorry.
I don't know how to use Power Toys.
Yeah. Cool.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
you doing?
Very well. I'm
Thank
enjoying
you for
myself.
hanging out until the middle of the night. 6 p.m. is my bedtime. So this is, so like Scott said, I'm on the .NET team. I'm a mobile developer. The most important thing I do when you're running nightly .NET builds is open the task manager to kill everything. I found out most of you people have been right-clicking on the taskbar to open the task manager instead of just doing Control-Shift-Escape, which opens it.
Okay. That's a
Okay.
nice one. It's been around for a while. I like
It
that.
has.
A bit
It's
of a
one of
deep
the
cut.
new things that it's not actually new, but it feels
very new.
I see all these people in demos right-clicking, and I'm like, why are you using the mouse? Anyways, kidding. I have my phone here.
Okay.
I am always on my phone. I hope you like my background. It was a picture of my husband, and so I just
That's
I
not
didn't
weird
want
at
that
all.
I didn't want that
totally
on
fine.
stage. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
So
This
that's
is
from the
much more normal
rehearsal.
and comfortable. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very appropriate.
Sorry.
We are in the same reporting structure, so we'll be
are.
having a conversation about this later.
Oh no, everything's opening. Anyways, I'm on my phone all the time, as you can tell, because I clearly know how to use it.
Sure.
And I'm also context switching a lot, so I'll be like running apps on my phone. I will be like getting text messages. I'll be looking at things in Target, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to go home and like actually do my job. And so you can actually open things in Edge here, like this guy's TikTok. And I'm using a very cool tool called Visor to screen mirror, just so that you know.
Shout out to those folks.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. And so I can open things here, and then if I want to pull it up on my computer, so say I'm looking at like a TikTok or a GitHub issue or
Right.
something that I need like a real keyboard for, Edge actually has this built in. This isn't even a Windows feature, but I just had to show it. You can hit send to devices here. Anything I'm logged in with, I can send it to, and then it actually pops up like instantly. That was a real demo.
Oh, page shared from other device.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's a screen mirrored version of your
Yeah.
phone, and you just hopped it over to your actual machine.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Which I use all the time because like I'll be on a GitHub issue and I'll be like typing a comment furiously, and then I'll be like, I need to sit at a computer with like,
Nice.
Thanks. I'm also using. I know Kayla talked about Power Toys. Fancy Zones, which I use all the time because a lot of times I have my emulator or my device up, and then I have Visual Studio on this left side. And if you just hit Shift and kind of wiggle this thing around, it's actually going to pop up the zones you have created. And so I always have the fancy zones to snap. On the right, I have a phone. On the left, I have my IDE or my browser or whatever. So, okay. Not phone related, even cooler. Snipping tool, WinShift-S, I use all the time. And I did not realize that they keep adding features to it because I just use it to take screenshots and call it a day. And let me see if I can.
So you just screenshotted like some text there.
Yeah, I'm going to screenshot the amount of followers you have. It's weird. It's a lot.
Did not ask you to do this.
Sorry.
Totally comfortable and not awkward in any way.
Just have to give you a light roast.
Yeah.
Just a light roast. Let me screenshot that.
Go ahead and
again.
screenshot that a third time. Why
Yeah.
are you screenshotting it so many times?
The notification isn't popping up.
What is it? It's because it's in do not disturb mode.
Oh,
It's not that it's been popping up this whole time. It's totally fine.
Thanks. Thanks, Scott.
Smooth.
Wow.
Just a light roast.
Yeah, I deserve that. Anyways, snipping tool. lots of cool new stuff. First of all, it does videos. Just FYI. You like
It's
that
a
little
screen
zoom it?
recorder now?
Yes. So I used to call myself on Teams and then share my screen and then record the Teams meeting
Of yourself?
of myself and then like put a little thing over the corner. I don't do that. I just use this
Totally
now.
normal thing
It's
to
much
do.
easier. Yep. Another cool thing is this little thing, text actions. I click that and it's
Ooh.
using AI, which we have heard nothing about this week.
Yeah, not at all like OCR.
Not once. To go in and actually pull out all the text in this.
Ooh, copy
So-
all text.
I can just copy it all.
Okay.
And then I can go over to, switching again, new app, the Phone Link app. And I actually have this connected to my phone here over the internet.
Kayla's name is Cinnamon.
No. Look at the phone number. That's her real number, 867-5309.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thanks.
It's different.
You can see all my fake texts to her. But
This is
she
some
blocked
this is
me.
some Walmart version of Kayla. This
It
Kayla
is, yeah.
Paprika.
But I can just paste that text in. And so this app is great because I'll be like getting text on my phone and I don't want to pick up my phone and deal with it. So I can just
Okay,
do
so
it
you're
here.
pasting the text from the screenshot
Yes.
and
Just like
texting
that.
from PhoneLink.
Bam, just like that.
Cool.
So lots of different like little things. You don't really have to set any of it up. Like once you've opened Phone Link the first time, you just do it and then that's it.
Now that's not going because that's a fake number. So you're spamming a real person who has that phone number right
I
now,
am.
and they're refusing your text.
Yes.
Just wanted to call that
They've
out.
probably blocked me because of the amount of times I've
That
practiced
would make
this
sense.
demo.
Probably not a good idea.
So, all right. Two more things, two more power toys. One, for those of you who are .NET folks, .NET Aspire went GA this week.
Okay.
Very exciting. And one of the cool features of .NET Aspire is that there's this dashboard thing that shows you all of your data and your things and where it's getting slow and whatever.
Yeah, we saw that in Mark and my talk, the Aspire dashboard for OpenTelemetry.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And so with Aspire, it will pop it up automatically. But if you close out of the browser and you want to get back to it, nobody remembers
Yep.
IP addresses.
I had that happen live on stage actually, and I had to go and click on it again. It was a whole thing.
That's very funny. You should use the host's file editor,
Okay.
which cracks me up because every single time you open it, it's like, please do not do this if you don't know what you're doing. But I have just made a bunch of like basically aliases, right, for various ports. So I have my Minecraft server alias, I have my router at home, and then of course I have like just the Aspire dashboard ready to roll. Here.
Okay, so you just type Aspire-dashboard and do it. And then every time
Yeah.
it warns you that this is a bad idea, you just click YOLO.
I say that's totally fine.
Totally
and these
fine.
are
What could
totally
go
real
wrong?
IP addresses too.
What could go
that
wrong?
Totally work. So that's a really nice, nifty little trick. And then finally, the most important power toy, and I use a lot of power toys if you can't tell, is WinShift-C.
Win-Shift-C.
And that is
Not assigned.
Shift-C. It is. Oh my God.
Pause for effect.
Pause for effect. Where is it? You said what could go wrong, and
What
color
could go
picker
wrong?
not showing
Color
up.
picker
was
didn't show up. Not on
the
your-
list of what could go wrong in this demo. It's a color picker, which I know does not feel like a big deal to you, but if you ever get like an app from a designer,
Mm-hmm.
and then they give you the color as like some kind of thing that's not the hex code you need to stick it into your XAML, it's a huge pain. So you click on it and it gives you all the things. It's very nice.
Oh,
Isn't that
okay.
fancy?
And you can save it, you can name it, and it gives
So
you...
I can copy it and then I can go like paste it.
Yeah,
into
it gives you the
Visual
RGB
Studio.
and the HSL. So try hitting Shift Win or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Shift
hold on, let me
Windows
paste
C.
this. See, give me the little one.
Oh,
Win
okay.
Shift C. Oh, there it is.
There
That's
it is.
perfect.
Maybe it was popping up. Maybe it was there the whole time.
Maybe it was. Maybe I'm just blind.
Yeah.
Anyways, lots of little things, but I'm just, just a lowly .NET developer.
No, you did a great job.
Thank you. But what's cool is coming out next is actually Vicky, who kind of like owns all of this Power Toys stuff.
Yes, and she's going to show me a bunch of built-in Windows goodness. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maybe the real color picker was the friends we made along the way.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks,
Get outta
Scott. See ya.
All right. Vicky.
Hello. We'll find out if I'm logged.
Hey,
Hello, everybody.
hey.
So,
Having fun? Enjoying yourself?
I am having fun. It's been a day.
Okay, so you have a different machine. These are
I
your
have a different
literal
machine.
personal machines. This is your real machine, not a demo machine.
Right. And so, what I thought I'd show you, just to begin with, is what I do to get my machine ready for demos.
Right.
Because I have like embarrassing stuff. Like what I used to do is I made like a local Windows profile and I do all my demos from that. But now we have Azure and we have all the single sign-on and everything. So it's really much more convenient for me to use my actual corporate login. But I have all this embarrassing stuff. So like if I go into Edge and I go into my Edge collections, I've got like these secret, I have the P versus MP solution and, all these things in here that I can't let other people know about. And there's things in Start. There's all these MRUs and everything. So how do I do that? So one of the things I can do
MRUs are most recently
used lists. So like when you go to Start, and it's like the recommendations and everything like that. So I can use, this is PowerToys. Everybody's talking about PowerToys. This is PowerToys Run. So if I hit Alt space, it's bringing this up. So I can go into settings and like do Start menu settings here and go to like personalization, change it there. And then
If you do me a favor, minimize Edge here because I want to make sure that people understand that that's floating above everything.
Yes.
Okay.
So like if I hit $, I can search into Windows settings and go to Start. But I don't necessarily want to do that every time, so I know that I can also go into the registry. So I can hit here and go registry and go
You just
directly.
like paste a registry key in?
Right. Well, so actually I'm just going down. So I happen to know where I'm looking
Because
for.
you're navigating the registry
Yeah, so
from...
software, Microsoft,
Now you tell me this.
Windows, yeah, current version, Explorer. And then I can go to run MRU. And go ahead and hit that.
Like you do. Yeah.
Like you do.
YOLO.
And then we can see I've got all my embarrassing, most recently Scott's review feedback and CTech Astronomy, all these files that I've opened recently. And so I want to get rid of those. So I can, of course, again, just go through and here directly edit it, but I don't want to do all of that either. So
No, that's tedious.
you may know I come from data. I was in data for like 20 years. So I am still very much addicted to Jupyter Notebooks. So what I'm going to show here is a Jupyter Notebook, but this is using what's called .NET Interactive with the Polyglot kernel. And so if you know Jupyter Notebooks, they're a mix of like markdown code. So if I double click this, you can see it's markdown, and then executable code, and if necessary, the output of it. And most of the time, those come from Jupyter is for Julia, Python, and R, kind of the machine learning languages. But there's been an explosion in additional kernels. So the .NET Interactive kernel actually allows you to run C#, it lets you run PowerShell. In fact, if I go and list here, I can take a look at all the different languages that I'm able to run. So from cell to cell, I can change which language it is. So here I have a notebook that I made to make my machine presentable. So I'm going to go through and enclose all my work apps and just kind of run this C# to go and kill those processes.
You've effectively made a run book here.
Right.
But you're using whatever language makes you happy, whether it be PowerShell
Or some
Python
snippets
or whatever.
somebody gave me or whatever.
And to your point, even though the P in IPYNB is Python, PY, but it doesn't have to be because these are polyglot notebooks.
Exactly. And so I can use whatever language. So like in this case, I want to use C# because I just want to. But then down here, I'm going to use a sudo and do an import of registry key where I have all those registries cleared. And I'll pull out just here sudo. If you haven't seen some of the announcements on this, we have added sudo to Windows. So I want to run this as an administrator. I don't necessarily want to elevate my entire notebook and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And as it runs, it's going to, should I actually hit execute? It's going to go ahead and pop up and ask me for the permissions, and I'll hit yes. And then if I go back over to my registry and
And what did you just import?
preview,
And
so
then you
now
just deleted those.
I've just deleted all my MRUs. So now that's all clear and all clean, and nobody's going to see your review feedback and all that.
Very cool.
So then the other thing that I have is like I was showing you the Edge collections, and so those are actually stored in a SQLite database. So if I pull that up, I can again use PowerToys Run. Just go open that folder. And see, these are like these SQLite files. And so I can just swap it to a clean version. So here I'm going to go ahead and run this. And oh no, I got an error. This isn't intentional at all. So yes. So I got an error. So it's telling me the file is being used by another process. So here I'm going to go to another of our PowerToys and go over here to show more options. And I've got unlock with file locksmith. So I'll run this.
File locksmith.
File locksmith. So here it's seeing, obviously I was just showing you the collections in Edge, so I'm going to go ahead and hit in task on
And
that.
respectfully shut Edge down.
Respectfully kill it, and it's not going to complain about that at all later. And so let me give it a second. And so
Yeah,
now it's
and look
cleared
at
that
that.
up. Now if I reopen my Edge, and it tells me, hey, you messed it up. Now I've got some nice clean,
Collections.
collections in here that I can use during my demos.
That's a really good reminder that nothing in Windows is hidden from you. Like you know that those collections are stored in SQLite files. You can find them in app data.
Right.
You can find these things. The registry is not a black box. And as a developer, as a power user, with these tools, you can do whatever you want. You can make the thing work any way you want. And that is a philosophy of your team, is to not accept the defaults.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I got my start in programming working on monitoring tools. And so I had to like basically reverse engineer a lot of the way things worked with like tools like sysinternals to say, what is it calling and how's it doing that? And then you can use that logic. I mean, it's all available to you to hack around with. So I've been using PowerToys this whole time, but I've got a little confession to make. I'm actually not using the publicly available build. I am using my own dev copy of it.
A private build of PowerToys.
A private build of it. And
Classic Vicky.
here it is. So it's already open. So I don't know if anybody saw, but we announced a thing in PowerToys called Advanced Paste. So I'll just go ahead and pull this up and show you the settings. So right here, it's Advanced Paste. And so this is an AI-assisted paste. And it's not AI-assisted copy, because, copy, et cetera, but pasting is something that you do all day, all the time. So I think the best way to show it to you is to just show it to you. So here I have an XML file. I pulled this off of like data.gov, and I think it's like bird listings from national parks or something. So I'm going to copy, go to new.
There are now birds in XML in your clipboard.
Yes. And so I'm going to hit Win-Shift-V, and I'm going to tell it to paste as JSON. So
Can you paste it? Can you tell it like you want to paste shape it a certain way? Can you paste it as CSV file?
yeah. Well, so I mean, let's
You paste it as an INI file.
see. Let's go. We're going off the beaten path here. Let's see what happens.
Oh yeah, there's no
Paste
script.
as CSV, and we'll see.
I love the little sparkly thing.
And
on
so
the outside.
the thing I need to tell you, of course, is that this is like code that I got working like last night.
Did I just crash the world cloud?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's okay.
We'll reboot
So-
Azure.
No,
it's fine.
so this is, I actually have my super secret
What?
actual other.
She's got a run book to put it back the way
I
it was.
I do. Of course I do. So I'm going to restart PowerToys, and I'm going to give that a second, and I'm going to run this. Okay, now it's all back up and running again. And so
That, by the way, is more impressive than. You like have code to prevent me from taking you off the path.
I know who I'm working with here. So, but it does. So, what is available? So in today's build, we do have what I just showed you, basically the paste as JSON, et cetera. What is new and what I'm showing you here is basically using local models. And so that we have, it's available, it's in a dev branch though, so it hasn't been published yet, because actually we had a bunch of new models and things being announced here, and it's open source, so we wanted to like get a chance to get it all out there. And we want to invite everybody to help us develop it and figure out what models are going to work and what do people want to use and all of that. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things that it can do now that aren't actually in the publicly available branch, or it's not in the public build, but it's available
But soon.
in the public build. And so just to get to Maddie, I'm going to do right-click Task Manager.
Okay.
So, like, come on. And so I've got Task Manager here, and I'm going to sort by memory here. And let's see, Shift-S. I will take her snipping tool demo.
Right, and we saw before where she extracted some text out
Yeah,
and
so I'm just
pasted
going
it.
to like grab that.
Cool.
And let me go back over here to my favorite, make a new notebook.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a markdown
Yeah.
right there. And I'm going to tell it Win-Shift-V, paste as markdown table.
Ah.
So let's give that a second.
You're pasting a screenshot as a markdown table.
Yes. So I'm asking it to basically chain together two AI activities.
Whoa.
And so it did OCR, and then it also
Local.
converted. So this is a mix. So this
was
is
a hybrid.
That was a hybrid. So it can do kind of a mix of like doing some parts of it locally, some parts remotely. And as we start pulling in more of the powerful models, we'll be able to do more of it locally. So here I do have one that is entirely local. And let me go.
That's amazing.
Reveal in File Explorer here. And so what I've got is one of your podcasts. And because I have a machine that doesn't have an MPU, I just have it trimmed down to about 3 minutes.
Okay, so you have a 3-minute section of my podcast.
Yes, and so I'm going to go ahead and copy that file. And
Like copy, like when you copy
like
paste.
Control-C.
Okay.
And I'm going to Win-Shift-V. I'm going to paste the audio to text. So this is going to take a moment.
Paste audio as text. Now
yes.
you're just flexing on everybody.
So, but this, you got to give it some credit here. All right, there we go.
Wow.
And what I wanted to do is actually repeat that. So let me go
That's crazy.
copy this, and well, not the name of it, just copy the actual thing.
Yeah?
Delete that again.
You're gonna do it
Hit
again?
Shift V. Now, but I want to prove my point here.
Say,
I'm
stop
going
while you're
to
ahead, because you're already blowing my brain.
Control Shift P. That's not it. It is Control Alt P. I want to attach to the process.
Okay.
And I want to show you that it's running local, so like it's hard to tell these things, right? And we were just talking about everything should be discoverable. So I'm going to go ahead and say paste audio to text and let it run its to the breakpoint. And this is where
Pause for effect.
pause for effect. Oh, I pasted it here.
Oh, you
so I missed the breakpoint. But OK, so I missed the breakpoint. But you can see I do have the
Before you paste it directly over your
before
code.
I pasted directly.
Where was it going to break?
It was going. Hello. It was going to break here in Whisper. So we're using the Whisper Onyx model.
Uh-huh.
And you can see because I've got a small one, I've got Whisper Tiny Onyx model, and we've also got Whisper Small. And so both of those are available, and you can kind of swap them out. I ran Whisper Small. It was more accurate,
Yeah.
but it took a little longer. And so for the demo, I wanted to make it nice and short.
Yeah.
And you can also do, like I've been using it for things like to get ready for this. I can never remember FFmpeg, commands to trim things. So I just say, copy the name of the file and say, paste the FFmpeg command to trim it to 3 minutes. And so it's really cool. It's really fun. And
That's awesome. And if you wanted to, if you had an NPU machine, it would use the NPU, and then it could fall back to the GPU and fall back to the CPU.
yeah, and that's the other thing I'm
up to
wanting
you.
to show here is that we really want to invite people to help us build this. So this is PowerToys. This is open source. You can go to it now. And so we have Whisper. We've announced Phi. We've got all these models. You can also think of models that you might want to do. And I'm thinking about it the same way that we have all these different things we can do when PowerToys run. Imagine being able to do those things in the clipboard. And we can't possibly think of all the scenarios people might want. I wouldn't have thought of the blood sugar monitoring. And so I want to invite people to come and help and contribute to that and to really have that transparency and let's figure it out together. So.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Right.
Open source, baby.
Open source.
Thank you. All right. Let's
And
bring,
speaking of open source, we have one of our big open source guys.
let's bring Mike out. And Vicky, will you grab Mike?
I will grab Mike. Mike?
He might be a little shy.
Hello, Mike. Mike, hello. Yes.
Hi,
You look enthusiastic. Don't
excited.
feel like you got to pump it up at all.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
You feeling comfortable?
Yeah, sure. I'm an engineer. I'm supposed to talk to people, right? Yeah.
And you're an engineer on what, sir?
The Windows terminal and the Windows command line experience. So
Yay, Windows Terminal!
I'm just going to talk about the terminal because that's what I know the most about.
Okay.
And I just want to jump right into it, but I have piles of windows open right here, and I don't want to really look through the Alt-Tab order to try and find the terminal. When I'm writing code, I want to stay in the flow. I want to just be writing code and then jump to the terminal, run my builds, run my tests, and jump back. Right? So if you look at my settings here in the terminal, I have this global summon key binding set up.
Global summon.
Yeah, it lets me just get into the terminal regardless of what's open. So I'm just going to press that right now, and there we go. I'm in the terminal. I don't have to think about it. It's just right here,
Nice.
right?
Global hotkey to bring the terminal to the front.
Yeah, I use this key binding 1,000 times a day.
And you should also add to that key binding, shut off all Teams meetings,
Probably.
tell people to stop bothering you.
No, that was the other demo. No, so I use this more than copy and paste, seriously. Now that I'm here, I want to talk about something we've added to the terminal this year that has made me way more productive. It's something we call shell integration, right? You've got a great prompt set up. I love customizing my prompt. That's what made me fall in love with the command line. But you could do more than just change the colors of the terminal with that. You can actually use your prompt to tell the terminal a little bit more about what's going on. And if you do that, the terminal can light up all sorts of new features just because it'll actually know, here is your prompt. And this is the command you ran. And this was the actual output of that command.
Okay.
So we can do all sorts of stuff. So let's look at this window. I've been running all sorts of commands in this all day. And just scrolling through it, it sometimes takes a little bit of overhead to kind of situate myself.
You have to figure out what was I doing, and then you scroll back and scroll back.
Right,
and
and I'm,
what have I been doing all day?
what was this? Okay. That doesn't match my mental model of what the command line is, which is really, I ran this command, then that, I did this, then that, right? If you come into my settings, I have these scroll to mark key bindings, just on control up and down. They're candy. If I come back over here, I could just jump around the command line exactly one command at a time.
Scroll to mark.
Yeah. It's just jumping from one prompt to the next. So I can actually navigate, like I ran my build here, and then I ran my tests, and then, well,
And this has been in there?
I did the right thing
Just put
eventually.
that there today, or when is that? Is this?
This is in preview builds already. And we could do more with this than just scrolling around, because that's not that cool. I don't have to like press the up arrow 80 times anymore just to find something that I ran recently.
I love how like, the up arrow is just so much effort.
I need to find ls in my history, okay? But I don't need to do that. The terminal knows where all the commands are.
Yeah.
So like it could just open up a menu with all your commands in it, and you could like filter it and like just run the thing I was looking for.
Nice. Nice.
Right? You know, I just pulled that up with this show suggestions action here. Just
Yeah.
have it on control space. I
Very
like that. It's like Control R search at Bash,
Control
but
R.
like it's actually good. It's actually like
Hey,
but yeah, it shows you all the actions. It shows you everything, you know,
Okay.
and it's actually
Keep it-
accessible
keep it
too,
light.
and it works even in CMD here.
That's cool. It is accessible. That is a good point.
Right. It's a more human-friendly way of interacting with the command line.
Okay.
I use it all the time because I type obviously really quite slowly. I never passed those orange keycaps in middle school.
Really?
You know, they cover up the keys. No, I have to look at the keyboard. That's sorry. And you know, I work with a lot of command lines that are really long, right? Like I work on Windows, and you know, when I'm working on Windows, I have nightly builds of Windows.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And sometimes, hey, nightly software has bugs in it.
I've heard that.
That happens. But I always have postmortem debugging turned on to try and catch crashes in the terminal while I'm working on it. But sometimes, you know, File Explorer crashes into the debugger.
Right. And this is something when you are a Windows developer developing Windows on Windows, you're going to get into
Happens,
a situation.
happens.
So you're going to do this all day long.
Right, yeah, but then File Explorer has crashed, so the debugger can't actually open. So now my system is hung.
Okay.
Right, that's no great. So I have to like actually disable postmortem debugging just for File Explorer, right? But I don't remember the reg command to do that.
Okay.
So I have actually a snippet in here, which I've just put into this menu. It's just the send input action that I have here in my settings. And that just sends a sequence of characters as if I had typed it. So I don't actually have to remember the long reg command. I can just run that and just,
So you get snippets, like we have snippets in VS, but snippets in terminal.
yeah, snippets for the terminal, right?
Nice.
So I don't have to remember this anymore, and I could just, well,
Yeah.
okay, I need to run this as admin. I'm not going to do the Control-Shift thing that Caleb was talking about, because, well, why would you have two windows? That's
Yeah,
insane.
when you can't really Control-Shift that command, you want to.
I want to just run this. It's right here. It's
that.
perfectly good. So I'm
We
just
have
going
to
to use
hurry too,
sudo.
by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it's fine. I got sudo here. It's good.
So
It was that easy. Yeah,
Sudo make me a sandwich on Windows. Fantastic.
yeah, it's great. You know, but there is one thing wrong with it.
Well, the problem is that everything that they showed us was open source, and I haven't seen any of the code for sudo, and it's not on the internet.
But Scott, I have it right here.
It's in a tar.gz file. You'll never get that open on Windows.
Oh, I'll be trapped forever. No, it's fine, Scott, because I've got snippets for that. So I'm just gonna extract the file. I'm just gonna go. Is it okay if I?
Yeah,
Could I just
let's
like
just
put this in the
open it up.
repo right
Let's do
now?
it.
Like
Do you need permission?
from a VP?
Sure.
I don't report to you.
You don't report to me. Pick a VP. They're probably cool with it. What are they going to do? Okay.
Yeah, I guess you
So
said
that's
it.
the
You said it was
source code.
fine.
This
Yeah.
is the source code for sudo?
Yeah. This is. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, that looks right. That's probably
Probably
it.
fine.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Oh, it's fine. I'm just gonna.
It's fine.
It's fine. We'll
Commit.
just.
What are
It's
they going to
fine.
do? Commit. YOLO.
You know what? I need a new branch.
You have to
actually.
like get permission to put a certain message in?
Probably. I'm just gonna do it live.
Okay.
It's fine.
It is Connect season, though. We have to fill out our reports because we have to do our annual review next week. So you have 90 seconds.
It's fine. See? It's fine.
Ooh, copy paste action. Oh, I
fine.
type slow, says fast typer.
That was fast. That wasn't fast. So I'm just gonna.
Okay, so go to GitHub and prove it. What did you just do there? Hang on.
Okay, so what I did there was I hit Control-Shift-M to start mark mode.
Okay.
And I just hit Shift-Tab, and it like knows where all the URLs are. So and then I just hit Shift-Tab again.
Okay.
So every time I push, I just go Control-Shift-M,
Everything-
Shift-Tab,
adjust,
Shift-Tab, and then I just.
Okay. Okay.
Scott, I thought you lived in the terminal.
Apparently not
Right?
big enough. I mean, yeah, okay.
All right, so yeah, this is, this says test. Well,
You have 30 seconds.
well, is this the right commit? Let's see. Let's make this bigger.
Hurry.
Oh yeah, that looks like source code to
They're
me.
going to turn off the live stream. 18 seconds. Initial reset the pseudo source code.
Copy.
We're going on Hacker News.
Paste.
10 seconds.
Enter.
Ladies, come out and support us.
Yeah, it's
We have
there.
5 seconds. Big hand for the team. It's Kayla, Maddie, and Mike,
Thanks.
and Vicky.
Thanks for letting me do that.
I am 90% sure that the live stream is gone, but I do know that the source code for sudo is on the internet now.
Yeah, we did it live.
Oh, wow. Are you sure that was the right directory?
I'm pretty
It
sure.
wasn't my desktop.
No, I'm pretty sure. This is the real repo.
All right,
so.
fantastic. Big hand for our friends from all over Windows Developer Tools and DevDiv. If you like this kind of stuff, go up on the 5th floor. We've got booths. We've got people who want to talk to you. What's the name of the booths we're looking for?
We have Windows productivity tools and also a WSL and terminal booth upstairs.
Very cool. And you'll be at the .NET and the Maui booths?
Yep.
Very cool.
You know it.
Hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.